Hey guys, it's Nailbiter, and this is a replay I had with the WZ-111 on Pilsen. I've been playing a lot of this tank recently in order to unlock the 111-5A, the new Chinese Tier 10 Heavy, and I wanted to do at least one commentary about the 111-1 because this tank is really a ton of fun to play. It's got a great combination of mobility, armor, and alpha, which makes it very adaptable to whatever situation you find yourself in. And even though in theory the gun handling on this tank shouldn't be great, I've never really had any issues with it. So it's really just all around a very solid tank and a lot of fun to play. Anyway, this is a tier 10 game I got into on Pilsen. And what I typically do on Pilsen, unless I'm playing a scout, is I like to go to D3 at the start and see if I can get cross shots on the enemy tanks heading toward the city. So that's what you'll see me do here. As I've talked about before, I don't like blindly committing to a flank without having a sense of what both my team and the enemy team is sending to that flank first. And especially in this matchup where, if you look at the tank lineups, the enemy team seems a bit heavier than my team with the JPZ and the extra Tier 9 Heavy. So I was a bit unsure at the start of this game about whether my team would be able to win the city. So going to this position allows me to both spot some of what the enemy sends into the city, which will hopefully give me the information I need about whether or not I should commit to the city later. And it also gives me the opportunity to get some early shots of damage in on the tanks that cross. So I like to pre-aim this opening around J3. And if you catch heavy tanks going through there, sometimes with meds, they get lit too late so that you can't really react in time to get a shot off. But with slow enough tanks, it's pretty easy to get shots off through this opening. So I put one shot into that Object 252. And then I was going to try to put a shot into the cupola of that Type 4, but an Oho behind him decided to try to cross, so I put another side shot into him, and already I have 1,000 damage, which is the beauty of having a 490 alpha gun on a tier 9 tank. Now, the enemy team is actually being kind of passive. I haven't lit the JPZ going to the city, so I know he's probably not there. And the Type 4 stopped before crossing into the city, so he didn't want to get shot on the side. So the enemy team doesn't look like they've really committed much to the city, so I decided I'm actually going to go around. Even though my team isn't super strong in city either, and our E4, the one tank that I would actually expect to be in city, is sort of sitting in the middle of the map around like D6 or so. So I decided to wind my way around. I wasn't sure if the JPZ, and he actually looks like he is at that corner around G3 or G4. I didn't want to obviously risk getting shot on the side, so I went around the long way. And then I took this route because a lot of times you get tank destroyers, like where that Scorpion G is on the enemy team, sort of lightly armored tank destroyers sitting down in J1. And the enemy team does have a grill, so I was worried about getting shot as I tried to cross over here into this position by one of those TDs. So I peeked this corner, and instantly the Scorpion G gets lit, and I put a shot into him, and the 704 behind me finishes him off. And now I'm looking to see if there's going to be any follow-up from the enemy team now that me and the 704 have been lit in a pretty forward position. But it looks like most of the enemy tanks are kind of sticking to the two lines, so I decided I'm going to wrap back around and see if I can help out there, because we really only have a Chrysler GF at this point that's kind of holding that area. But the 704 actually that I just left in that position decides to move up, and so once I see the grill on the enemy team and the T10 start to head in his direction, I know that I have to help the 704 out because I don't want him to die behind me and just expose the one line, because then I'm going to be in a really bad position. So the 704 actually bounces the grill shot, which is pretty fortunate. I was a bit late getting back though to support him, so by the time I peek around the corner, both the T10 and grill had made it back into cover. And I had a bit of a shot on the T10's track, but sort of rushed it and ended up hitting him for no damage. Now, I really want to trade places with the 704. I don't like playing behind allies in these kinds of brawling situations, because if the 704 backs off, then I'm completely exposed, but I'm also trying not to get in his way. So I managed to peek around the 704 and get a shot into the VK 45 as he moves up. Then the VK and 704 trade shots. So now the 704 is kind of low HP and he starts to back off, which leaves me a little bit out in the open, but the T10 is sort of tentative when he peeks. So I put a shot on the T10 and he bounces. Unfortunately, the grill also decides to move up and peek, and I was trying to adjust my angle since I thought the 704 was backing off. But he kind of blocks me instead, and I end up losing a chunk of HP to the grill, although I am able to put a shot into him as he tries to retreat behind that building. Now, since the 704 is backed off, I can take the closer position next to the hard cover, which makes it a lot easier for me to peek without exposing much of my tank, so I'm able to peek and put a shot into that VK's cupola to take him out. And with the 704 behind me, he can kind of deter this T10 and Object 252 from peeking out on me. Even though I'm on reload, they obviously don't want to get hit by a 750 alpha gun. So now, even though there are kind of 3 tanks in front of me, and it's only me and the 704, I feel like I'm in complete control of the situation because all these 3 tanks are all being really passive. They don't want to peek out on me with the 704 behind me, so I can just kind of do whatever I want. So I'm taking my time here. I don't want to overexpose my front plate or give this T10 a shot onto my track, and I'm waiting to see if the grill will peek out again. I'm jiggle peeking a little bit, and the T10 takes a bad shot and misses, and I'm able to take that opportunity to put a shot into his upper plate. I'm waiting to see if the grill will try to peek again. I'm expecting he will. And I sort of slowly peek around this corner, and the grill ends up bouncing off I think he bounced off either my turret or my upper plate, which gives me the opportunity to move up again and put a shot into the side turret of that at object 252. Now the T10 is completely backed off, but I'm still worried about the grill potentially peeking, so I pre-aim the corner of the building as I reload. Now I see the 704 watching that corner, so I decide to move up and try to bait out the grill. I was a bit lazy here though with my angling as I peeked, and I gave the object a pretty easy side shot, but I take him out. Then as soon as I shoot, the grill tries to peek me, but the 704 is watching the angle and gets the kill shot there as well. So it kind of works out perfectly where I use myself as bait and get the kill on the defender, and the 704 takes out the grill. So now that we've taken control of the 1 line, it's really easy to just flank the enemy tanks that are still fighting in this warehouse in the 2 line. And that's kind of why I like to prioritize fighting on the 1 line whenever I go city on this map, because it makes it really easy to flank whatever is left in the city on the enemy team. So I'm trying to side script to get a kill shot on the T10. The 704 sort of blocked my shot, so I didn't want to risk hitting him at first. And then once my track repairs, I move up and make sure that I have an easy kill shot on the T10. And now it's just a matter of taking out this Type 4, and we've basically won the city. So again, I thought the 704 was going to be able to kill the Type 4, so I took a pretty quick snapshot there, and was a little lucky to get that shot to pen in the cupola, but I got the kill shot there as well. And now this game is pretty much over. It's just a matter of cleaning up the final few tanks. Unfortunately, bounced the kill shot there in the JPZ. But once I see him turn away, I know I have enough time to cross this gap, even though he does try to traverse back to get a shot on me. And now it's pretty easy for me to just flank him and get an easy final kill shot. So anyway, I thought this replay was a pretty good showcase of what the 111-1.4 is capable of. Obviously, it doesn't have the greatest armor for a heavy tank, but its upper front plate is decent, and it's got solid turret armor, so as long as you can hide your lower plate, whether that's by going hull down or by side scraping, or just by over-angling it, which you saw me do a bit of in this replay, where I was using the hardcover to protect my side and then over-angling my lower plate so that it wasn't as easy to pen. You have a lot of options for dealing with it and making the armor work. And then on top of that, when you add in the 490 Alpha and the really good mobility that this tank has, it's just a really fun tank to play, and it's also really good at carrying games. Anyway, I picked up a few more kills here at the end of the game. I was hoping to get a Radley Walters, but the enemy RD ended up driving out in the open. So there's the replay, and now I'll show you the post-game stats. This ended up being an ace tank. I actually found this tank was kind of difficult to ace. I think a lot of people were probably playing this tank to grind for the new Chinese Tier 10 Heavy, and it's also a pretty popular tank among good players. But anyway, I did just over 6,300 damage and got the 7 kills, and I wanted to give a shout out to the 704 who was fighting the 1 line with me. I thought he played that game really well, and he also had a good game. I think the 2 of us really carried our team in the city there. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the replay and the commentary. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.